Are you looking to take your personal finances to the next level? You're in the right place. Welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not, with your host, Joseph Sangle.
Well, welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. My name is Joseph Sangle. I'm joined, as always, by Megan Hibbard. Tell everybody what we're going to talk about and what episode number it is.
Yes, so we are on episode number 130. And today we're going to be preparing for a new year. So it's the last Monday before we say
it's
goodbye.
the 20th of December.
Goodbye to 2020 and hello to 2021. So our question is, 2020 has been quite a year for my finances and for everything else for that matter.
For life.
So do you guys have any tips on preparing financially for 2021? So we're going to break it down, and we do have tips.
Yeah, so I'm going to do a brief, real quick answer to that question on how to prepare for 2021 is just mentally dump the dumpster fire that was 2020. just say, I made it. And then we'll give you some practical tips that I'm confident will help you really zoom into 2021. But first, we're going to talk about one of my favorite sections of the podcast. Let's go.
Now it's time to get caught up with our current money events.
This portion of the podcast is sponsored by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. Utilize the Debt Freedom Date Calculator to determine when you'll be debt-free. It will provide vision for your future and fuel to power you towards financial freedom. So visit iwbni.com, click on Tools, and select Debt to find all of our debt calculators. And the best part, all of our tools are free.
Yes. And so for today's current money events section, jingle bells, it's similar. We should sing current money events. Current money events, current money events, current money events all day. Oh, yeah, it didn't work. And Christmas is over, so whatever.
Do it in the New Year song, that one.
What is,
We'll have to work on that one.
That's right. The New Year is just that. It was. So 2020, do you remember we celebrated? One of my favorite memes I've seen is we stayed up late at night celebrating the arrival of 2020. And we had no idea what was coming. But now's the time to shift your focus to the future. I want to share a couple of quotes with you that I find very helpful. And Zig Ziglar, the great motivational speaker, I was put through his course in 7th grade. The name of the course was I Can, as a motivational class. And I'm so glad our school did it. Taught by Miss Hornsby. It was awesome. And this is a statement from Zig Ziglar. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. What is he saying? There's no time like now. I heard this statement once that Johnny Appleseed was asked when the best time was to plant apple trees. Do you know what his answer was?
Yesterday.
20 years ago.
No,
that's the best time to plant is 20 years ago. The next best time is today, right? So that's good. So today's what does it say? It's saying, hey, you cannot go back. None of us can. It's the thing. Time marches on.
Yeah.
Hey, today is the first day of the rest of your life. And then a member of our team, Ken Fryer, says you never have to recover from a great start. Good. And so we want to help you in the 3 days you have remaining this year to 3 things that you can do so that you can get off to a great start. Yeah. And so the first one is prepare a budget for every month in 2021. That'd be awesome. If you could go ahead and prepare the budget. We have an annual budget template at what website?
Yes, at iwasbrokenowimnot.com.
Yeah, and you click on tools, and it's under the annual tools. And it's so awesome because it's month by month, all 12 months of the year. You could go map it out and make an easy budget month by month, Monday through the Sunday. You can do it, January through December. You can plan every dollar you expect to receive for the next year. And now I know immediately the super duper planners and budgeters, their heart is going pitter pat. And the spender's like, that sounds horrible. What a terrible way to spend the last 3 days of the year. But I will tell you, there's nothing like looking at chunks of time to see, hey, in July, the car payment goes away. Oh, yeah, get my attention. It really allows you to see more accomplishments. And so the second thing that you could do after you prepare your whole budget for next year, trust me, I'm going to be doing that. I always do that. I'm always looking at least 12 months ahead. Look at me. I'm going to pat myself on the back for that. It's awesome. But I'm the podcast host. But the reason I do that and the reason I'm the podcast host is because I know how much a budget has changed my life, and it allows me to have a podcast. Isn't that awesome?
It does. Yeah.
Are you going to have your budget put together for all of 2021? When will you have yours done?
For 2021?
Yeah. for the whole year?
Before
Well, I know what you're
2021
doing
starts.
on the 29th. You and Jordan.
We've never done the full year, but
Get in
maybe
here. We're preparing a budget for the whole year. I know you're
New
trying to take
goals.
down Christmas, but it's okay to leave up Christmas lights through at least January 31st. That's my rule.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
And the next thing, this is really important. I want you to check your named beneficiaries on your retirement accounts and insurance policies. I don't want you to run past this. Your named beneficiaries on these accounts, your retirement accounts, so your 401k, 403b, the people you've named as beneficiaries, you may not even remember having done it. Those on your retirement accounts and on your insurance policies, they trump your will. So let me give you an example. A person got married, it ended badly, they were divorced in 2 years. Bad story, right? Mm-hmm. They met special someone a couple years later, got married, ended up happily married for 35 years. They had 3 children. They worked at the same place of work the whole time. They died suddenly, right? Right before 60. Guess who they had set up in their retirement account as their named beneficiary?
Husband.
Their first spouse.
Yeah.
So he had named his first wife. Guess who gets the money? His first wife has all the money. And at best, if his second wife and children were to sue, they will get half the money. And so even as I was writing this, I said, I don't know when I've updated mine. So I went and looked at mine. And y'all, I teach this for a living. I know this. I had a retirement account that the only named beneficiaries were my wife and my firstborn daughter. I had multiple accounts where they were the only ones named. My other 2 children who showed up later, they were not named. And so by law, that my daughter would have gotten, my oldest daughter would have got all this money, and she would have to have it move upon her heart to say, that's not fair. That's not, I'm sure that's not what dad would have intended. So, and it turns out when money's involved, siblings don't always feel so benevolent. Yeah. And so I want you to go log in, do it right now. Stop your car, pull up your phone, look at your retirement account, look at your named beneficiaries. Look at your life insurance policies. Who are your primary beneficiaries? If you're married, that has to be your spouse. In most states, they require that by law. And then who's your contingent ones, which should be your children, or it might be someone else. But you need to name them and know that the person who's on that is the person you really intend to receive those dollars. The third thing you can do is to pull your credit report at annualcreditreport.com. I've got it pulled up here. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the screen. And you can get your free credit report from Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. They're absolutely free. You will not get your credit score, but you'll get your credit report, which will include all accounts that have pulled your credit, all accounts that are in good standing, those that are reporting negatively, and give you a method for freezing your credit or addressing any errors or anomalies. And so those are 3 things. Let me rattle them off one more time. You can prepare your budget for every month in 2021. You can do that right now because Megan is preparing hers with Jordan right now. And then check your named beneficiaries on your retirement accounts. My bet is that Logan is not named on yours because you set up your simple IRA with us.
It's true.
My bet is that Jordan may or may not be named because you were not married when you set it up.
I know I've changed some of them.
So I encourage you to check it out.
Should.
And everybody to check it out. And the third thing is pull your credit report. It's always a good time at the end of the year to do that. So that's it for my very exceptionally helpful current money event section.
That's good. All right. So for our success story this week, it comes from Loraine. Loraine. Yes. And Loraine says, I'm writing you to tell you how grateful I am. I participated in the IWB-NIN, our study at New Hope, Oahu. So that's one of the churches that we've been to.
Oh, I love it.
Yes.
I love New Hope, Oahu.
So she said, since I'm debt-free, I've been able to handle the reduced work hours at work during this pandemic. What a great feeling. Thank you again, Joe Sangel and your team.
Wow. And so this is amazing. I've met Loraine, and it just is just incredible the impact that this has had on finances, particularly during pandemics. It's the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. We can teach this stuff all the time. And I really feel like when things are going really well, and I'm trying to wave my hands and say, save money now, The time to save for a famine is when things are good. Save, save, save. And everybody's like, why would I do that? I don't know anything that would happen. And then a pandemic happens.
Yeah.
Then a financial collapse happens. And then they're like, well, I should have saved money. I need to save money now. Well, it's too late. The time to save money is when you are in the position of blessing. And so the great news is that Loraine had positioned herself in a high cost of living area, like Honolulu area, Oahu, Waikiki Beach area, the beautiful, one of the most gorgeous places on earth, that she's able to prosper even with reduced work hours. Yeah. And that thrills me to the core of my soul. That's the whole point of this podcast, is that life can happen and it doesn't derail you and your life because you've taken substantial financial action long ago.
Yeah.
Great job, Loraine. Thanks so much for sharing that.
All right. So for our featured question for today, just to remind you guys, it says 2020 has been quite a year for my finances. Do you guys have any tips on preparing financially for 2021?
Yes.
We do.
And we're going to share some tips. Probably going to share 5 of them. I don't know. We'll see how many we can get through. You ready? So the first thing I want to say is we did not predict a pandemic in 2020. So sorry for not letting you all know about that and telling you all about it. Secondly, we can never be sure what 2021 holds. The best we can do is make great decisions with the information we have right now. Then at least we can look back and say, I did my best with the information. You know, I always say that to my kids. You know, I don't care so much about the end result. You know, if you lost the game, you didn't do well in the game. My question is, did you do your dead level best? Did you give it your 100% effort?
Yeah.
And if you did, then, hey, they were just better than us on that day. So here's the things that you can do to be preparing financially for 2021. And I really love this question so much because it's about planning. You know, the simple act of strategically planning can allow us to accomplish so much more, and it allows us to avoid lots of pain. And it reminds me of a favorite financial verse in the Bible. It's my financial life verse, Proverbs 21:5, that says the plans of the diligent lead to what? Profit. As surely as haste leads to what? Poverty. 2 outcomes, profit and poverty. Which do you choose? I choose option 1, profit. And when you have a plan, you've accomplished half the task because it says the plans of the diligent. So you got to have diligence with it. And that's what this is about. Listen to this podcast. Taking action, massive action with this is huge. So I encourage you to start your planning by first conducting a review of 2020. So that's your first step. As you prepare for 2021, let's review 2020. Where did you make progress? Where did you fall short? So let's ask some questions, Megan. Ask them some questions.
All right. So first one is, did your retirement account grow or shrink?
Yeah, did it? I mean, just review it. A lot of these are really quick answer stuff.
Yeah.
So what's another question to think about?
Did your income grow or shrink?
Yeah.
For a lot of people.
How did that match up with your goal?
Yeah, for a lot of people, they lost a job or their hours were cut or something like that. Some
But
people
others,
got overtime.
way more hours.
Lots more, yeah. So, I mean, who knows? Okay, the next one is, did you live as generously as you desired?
Yeah, and this is a good moment to reflect. Hey, have I lived benevolently like I said I want to and like I believe myself to be in what I'm passionate about?
Yep. The next one, did you save money like you had planned?
That's right. Look at your bank account. Look at wherever you keep your stash of cash. You know, did you save money like you planned?
All right. The next one, did you reduce your debt like you planned?
Did you do that? You know, look at this. Like you have debt at the start of 2020. Has it been reduced? Did you avoid new debt? That's important.
All right. The next one, did you pay off anything completely?
Did the car get paid off? Did you pay off that loan that you owed somebody? Did you pay off furniture? Did you have a monumental achievement of paying off your house? If you did, why didn't you email us and tell us? Because we want to celebrate with your success story. That's awesome.
All right. And then the next one, did you pay cash for something you would have financed in the past?
Yeah. Did you pay actual cash money instead of financing it? And this is important because it's important to identify and celebrate success because we tend to want to point out all of our faults and mistakes.
Right.
For some reason, it has more of a negative energy and it's more attractive to us for some reason. And I want you to celebrate success. And give them a couple more questions. Yep. And by the way, we're going to have a list of these questions in the show notes. I want to list them so they can kind of reflect on them.
Yeah. Okay, the next one. Did you accomplish any of your plans, hopes, and dreams? And did you make progress towards future plans, hopes, and dreams?
Yeah. I mean, some plans, hopes, and dreams are multi-year in development. Did you make progress towards any of those future ones? Did you achieve any of them? And ask them one good last question.
Yep. So this one is going off of a verse that we share quite often, talking about getting wisdom, but it talks about, from whom did you receive counsel this year?
Yeah. Proverbs 15:22 is what you're referencing. Plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. So did you get counsel this year? Who helped you? Hopefully this podcast has been a help to you. But I don't want to be the only source of help for you. You know, you need investing help. You need help with insurance. You need help with other specific types of investments and other areas of your life. So I encourage you to review 2020. And that review will help set up this next one, which is to do what?
Yep. So the next part is update your plans, hopes, and dreams.
Yes. And so remember, we're answering the question, do you guys have any tips on preparing financially for 2021? And right now, we talked about financial things. Did your retirement account grow or shrink? Did you live as generously? Those are all financial things, but they're connected to bigger things. And this updating your PhDs, you know, you need a PhD in your PhDs. You need a PhD. You need a doctorate in your plans, hopes, and dreams. You need to know your plans, hopes, and dreams better than anybody. You ought to know them better than anybody. You need to have them written down. You need a dissertation on your PhDs. You need, PhD, to get a PhD, you have to do a dissertation. And so this is the season for reflecting and planning for the future. And I want you to update them because, as we always say with the I Was Broke, Now I'm Not ladder, the first rung is setting goals. And it's important to update these things, not just write them once and then forget about them for 10 years, but to review them once a year. It's great. This is that season to do that. Yep. And then you get to move to the purely financial stuff, which is to what?
Yes. So the next is set financial goals for 2021. So we have a couple of categories here that we really focus on for this. So the first one is earnings, giving, saving, investing, and debt elimination. Those are our categories.
Yeah. So they're the big 5 goals. I want you to set a goal. And of course, you can set sub goals within them. But do you have an earnings goal for next year? What's your earnings goal? How much money you want to earn that you want to produce? If you have a business, what is the goal? If you have a little side hustle business. I have a friend who started this candles business this year. She's been talking about it for several years with me. And she finally just went and did it in the middle of a pandemic. And it is exploded. And she's a really artistic human being. I mean, so talented. One of these people that just is, it's not fair how much God has gifted artistically. And I mean, within like a month and a half, had already cleared $10,000 in sales.
Wow.
I mean, that's unbelievable. And so I had to buy some from her and help it go. I did not spend $10,000, I'll tell you that. But you know what? The product is great. And so I would encourage her and any other small, because it's not their primary job, but it's a side hustle. And it might become her primary thing one day, the way it's going. But I want you to set a goal for it. And then what is your giving goal? Who do you want to support? How much do you want to support them financially? And then who do you want to give your time to? Giving is a huge deal. And I really encourage you to set giving goals. And then savings goals. And I'm coming at you in a minute, Megan. We're going to talk about this for you and help our tribe of people as part of this Monday Money Tip podcast. But savings goals. Do you want to boost your emergency fund savings? Do you want to save for some of these dreams? What known upcoming expenses have you added to your life that you need to save for? What's your investing goal? Last episode, we talked about saving for college. Do you want to up that? What do you want to save for retirement? Do you want to go into a new type of investment? Maybe you've only invested in real estate and you want to invest in the market or vice versa. And then debt elimination. Is there any debts you want to eliminate this year? Or if some of them are too far to eliminate, how much do you want to reduce them by? And so set those future financial goals for 2021, the specific, the smart, the specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound goals. So let's walk through these for you. Mm-hmm. How do you see this conversation taking place, like in your household? And then I can share about how it does in my household. Maybe we can help individuals have a quick meeting to set these goals. Yeah. Like if I told you, hey, I encourage you to sit with Jordan and prepare these goals, what type of environment would you want that to be set the story, help our listeners figure that out.
Okay, so for us, one of the biggest things is Logan is not in the room. So either he is asleep, he is nap time, it's gone to bed for the night, he goes to bed at 7, so that still gives us a large chunk in the evening. Or maybe we get a babysitter and we leave the house and we go out. Even if we're not, a lot of people aren't going to restaurants right now, but maybe you're grabbing food to go and, sitting in your trunk or whatever, whatever it is these days.
You're sitting in your trunk?
Well, we have like an SUV, so it's not.
Did you say sitting in your trunk?
Yeah.
I don't. Just for a newsflash, only half of the podcast hosts approve sitting in a trunk while doing your chore.
I cannot win with you today, apparently.
Well, that's awesome. No, but that's great. So the back of the SUV.
This is about my stage is being set.
Jordan and Megan are sitting in their trunk.
No, but if you pick up food to go, we have an SUV, so you maybe tailgating.
You're on the tailgate. I think I would use the word
Millions of Americans do it every week,
and they call it a tailgate, not a trunk. Okay,
well,
so you have this
needs
conversation.
It's in the winter. You have to close the trunk.
And if you're that's awesome. I like that idea. So do you pick up food to go? Like, let's get specific here. Do you like Chipotle type food? Do you like a nice restaurant to set the mood? Or is this McDonald's $3 off the dollar menu? Three things off the dollar menu?
No, I'm not a big McDonald's fan.
Okay.
But, lots of people are.
I am.
Yeah.
So you have this conversation. Logan is not present. It can be away from the house.
Yeah, away from the house.
Is this an hour conversation? Is this a 3-hour conversation? How long should it be? Should you set a limit?
Yeah, you could set a limit, but I think for us, one of the things that we try to do at the end of the year before we start a new year is review our plans, hopes, and dreams, review what we want to accomplish this year. We want to talk through these things. And so for us, it's not just, let's sit down and talk through these, but these things spawn new conversations of what do we want to accomplish this coming year? What are our big dreams that we feel like we can reach? What are some goals that we have? We have a couple different goals that we're trying to reach right now, whether it's a financial goal, things that we're saving for, or things that we're investing for, or, trying to get different investments going or started, that kind of stuff we're really working through. And so what is that? So we talk through that. We talk about just reviewing the year before. So reviewing 2020 for what it was, we like to review it. Okay, how did we do in these categories? And then it also, turns into how are we doing? So how are we doing as a family? How are we doing as, spouses? How are we doing in these different areas?
Yeah.
How do we feel like we're doing with family? Are we seeing them enough? Are we not seeing them enough? So for us, it's a really big conversation. And so for us, it's an evening. So maybe we go out on a date night, we get a babysitter. We don't have necessarily a
and you might come back to the conversation.
Yeah.
You may not land the plane here.
Right.
It could be an ongoing conversation. So I think it's important to just share that. Something that she shared is really important is this is usually best done without children present. It's also best done when you're not exhausted. And it's usually best done if you both know that this conversation's coming.
Yeah.
So it gives you time to kind of think about the things you want to talk about. And ultimately, over the course of a series of conversations, my passion, my plea for everybody listening is to get it land the plane, determine specific actions, and that's the last thing we wanted to share with you, is determine the specific actions necessary to achieve your plans, hopes, and dreams and financial goals for 2021. Write them down. This year, when you started out the year, you knew you were inclined to maybe start looking for a different house. Your family's growing. But even in a pandemic year, because you guys focused, you had conversation, you were able to buy a new house.
Yeah.
You were able to sell your other house. That's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
And so I think that's important that everybody, you review 2020. It's kind of what do they say? Eat the meat off the bones and throw the bones away. Take the good from it, and then move forward. And if you do so, and if you write down these goals and you put them in a place where you'll see them on a regular basis, man, I think you'll be so glad you did that.
Yeah.
Share everybody what the verse of the week is.
Yes. So our verse is Proverbs 19:21, and it says, "Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails."
So I love this because we can plan all we want, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails, and that's okay. Because I've always found it to be much more interesting, definitely challenging. Sometimes kind of makes your head swim a little bit, the changes and But I will tell you this, it is helpful for me to know, hey, I can plan this stuff. And it is important to plan this stuff. But ultimately, to be surrendered to the will of God in my life is it really to hold those plans loosely.
Yeah.
Don't hold them so tightly that God can't intersect it. And so let's tell everybody what we're going to talk about, to kick off 2021.
Yes. So next episode will be our first episode of 2021. And so we're going to give you 3 things that you can do this week. So that first week of January, 3 things that you can do to win in 2021.
That's right. What we're going to do is we're going to tell you 3 things that you can do that will make you feel like a winner. Even if you don't really focus on your finances for the rest of the year, it's going to make you a winner in 2021. So we're really excited about that. And so, hey, if you like today's episode, please help us get this podcast to other people. The best way you can do that is by rating our podcast, leaving a review, clicking the subscribe button on YouTube, and then sharing it on your social media pages. We'd be so grateful if you did that. We share every single podcast on the I Was Broke Now I'm Not Facebook page. We would be so honored if you chose to do that. And so as we wrap this up, what I encourage you to do is to make sure you go get some food, schedule a meeting, and go sit in your trunk. Megan said to do it, and have a great end to the year, and Happy New Year, everybody. What would you like to say?
Just only if you have an SUV, don't be doing it and be out of a car. That's weird. But
that's awesome. What a great
Happy
way
New
to end the
Year.
year. Hey, we've made it 3 years with the podcast. Knuckles fired up. All right, guys, have a great week. We'll see you at the start of 2021. Get fired up.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and subscribe. And for more great content and to stay up to date, visit iwbnin.com. We'll catch you next time.